Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Nduma and I'm going to continue with the third video in this series, Matching into US Residency. Today I'm going to be talking about how to signal programs the right way on errors. And let's get into it. So what is program signaling? Program signaling is just a way of indicating to programs that you're interested in matching in your program. That's just it. But let's put some historic perspective into this. You have to understand that all the highly competitive candidates are attractive to every program. So, if you're a competitive candidate, all the programs want you. But then when you go for interviews, of course, you're going to let these programs know that they're your first choice. And then you go to the second program, you're going to let them know it's your first choice. And then you go to your 30th interview, and you're going to let them know it's your first choice. And so you have highly competitive programs interviewing all these good looking candidates. And at the end of the day, this candidate can only match in one program. And so you see big programs come up with unmatched positions during the SOAP, and then they have to scramble. Programs absolutely hate this. And so program signaling is a way of letting the program know that you're interested in them. And so when they see all this pool of highly competitive candidates, they know who to take more seriously than the other. And so it reduces the amount of time they have to put into looking at applications. It reduces their chances of getting unmatched positions during the SOAP and so on. And so a lot of programs are actually getting into signaling, and you should too. It's voluntary, but you should definitely consider being signaling programs. So there are various types of signals. There's a standard signaling during which you just signal a program. Like for internal medicine, you have seven options to signal. So you have seven signals that you can pick, seven programs and send seven signals to. That's just a standard. Then you have the tiered signaling programs like anesthesiology and I think dermatology and so on use tier signaling, where you get the option to not just signal programs but have the option to choose whether it's gold or it's silver. Gold means your most preferred programs, silver means not so preferred. And so that's how it works. Now, what happens when you signal programs? When you signal programs, the programs either see in the signal area, it says yes, you signal them, or if you do not signal the program, they don't see any information. So what that means is if you don't participate in program signaling and someone who did not signal a program, you're the same. And so that keeps you on a disadvantage, because at least someone who participates in signaling, they get to signal some programs, and when the programs are looking at your application under signaling, they're going to see no information, which means they're just going to assume, okay, you did not signal us, so you probably signal other programs and did not signal us, and that keeps you on a disadvantage if you don't signal at all. So I would rather you signal some programs and at least have some programs view you as you having interest in them, rather than you coming out as having no interest in no program. And then on the other hand, if you do tier signaling, they're going to see either gold or silver. That's pretty straightforward. Now, geographic signaling, you're going to have the option out of the 9 geographic divisions in America. You're going to have the option to choose 3. And then between urban and rural, you're going to choose whether you prefer urban or you prefer rural residency. And so rural slightly preferred for rural, no preference, slight preference for urban, and then strong preference for urban. So that's how it works. And then whether you choose urban or rural, you're going to have a 300 character space to explain why you chose urban or rural, and you're also going to have a 300 character space to choose to explain why you chose one specific geographic division in the US. So this is just a table that I took directly from the ERAS website. It shows the 2024 ERAS match, and from there you can see the number of signals that each specialty has the opportunity to send. I'm internal medicine, so I'm going to focus on internal medicine. Here you can see you have the option to send signal to 7 internal medicine programs, and so please use it. And then for tier signaling, you see anesthesiology, which is at the top, the first specialty on the list. You can send either gold, 5 gold, and 10 silver. So have that at the back of your mind too. This is another table directly from the ERAS website. You can see the percentage of programs that participated in signaling by specialty last year. So the percentage, again, for internal medicine, 85% of internal medicine programs around the US participated in program signaling. And so that kind of gives you an idea. I'm very sure 2024 March is going to be higher. It's probably going to be 90 or even 100, pretty much, because it makes the program director gives them less work. It makes their life easier. Okay, this is another table that kind of gives us an idea of the number of applicants and the number of um, signals that I send. This is for internal medicine. Again, I'm internal medicine, so I focus more on internal medicine. So this is for internal medicine for the 2022-2020. That's the 2023 March. So in light blue, you see the number of applicants, and in dark blue, you see the number of um, uh, signals that were sent to those programs. So on the extreme left of my screen, you're going to see the highly competitive programs, and you see that the most competitive program receive up to about 8,000 applications. That's the light blue, and in the dark blue, you see the number of signals that the program received, which is somewhere an estimate. I'll estimate that to about 1,000. So if I'm, in some highly competitive program, say John Hopkins or maybe Harvard or Princeton or something like that, and I had received 8,000 applications, and of course, most of the applicants, if not all of them, are usually highly competitive candidates as well. And so, rather than sift through 8,000 applications, I can just use Signal as a cutoff, initial cutoff, and then I'll have just 1,000 or slightly above 1,000 applications to go through, and then use my other criteria to narrow down to like 80 or 100 candidates that I'm going to call for interview. That makes my life easier as a program director. That also makes the life of um, everyone that is going to be participating in the interview process. They're going to now, rather than looking at 8,000 applications, they're going to look at just 1,000 or slightly above 1,000, pick their 80 candidates, and then and when they are matching these 80 candidates, they know for sure that these candidates want to be there, and so they're less likely to have unfilled positions during the SOAP. On the extreme right of the screen, you're going to see the less competitive specialties. They receive less application, and the less competitive programs actually. They receive less applications, and so they also receive less signals. But then, if I'm not a highly competitive candidate and I'm applying to a program that I meet the requirement for that program, another person is applying to that program, and I signal the program that other person does not. If our applications look similar, of course, there's gonna be, okay, who do I pick? And then looking at me who signaled the program, they're definitely gonna call me over the other person who did not signal the program. And so that also factors in. And so you should take that into consideration when you're making up your mind. And so again, this further reinforces the fact that participating in program signaling is beneficial over not participating, even though it's voluntary. Okay, now let's talk about strategies. Um, uh, First strategy number one, you should definitely participate in program signaling. Again, like I said earlier in one of the previous slides, people participate in program signaling definitely are going to be seen as have participated, and those who do not participate in program signaling are going to be no information, and so we cannot tell if you participated or if or if you just didn't signal us. So I would rather signal several internal medicine programs, and have those programs know I signal them, rather than have all programs thinking I did not signal, I signal other programs. And the second strategy will be, look at the geographic region that has the highest number of specialties that you're participating in. For example, if you're applying to internal medicine and you think New York, New Jersey, and that axis has more internal medicine programs, then you should pick those divisions as your choice, because you're going to have more options to choose from, as compared to picking a region that has less of the specialty you're looking for, and so reduces your chances of matching. It's also said that if you pick a specific geographic division, signal programs within that geographic division. So if you pick the division that has New York or like Texas, you should signal programs within that area. They said that there is this talk going on that if you pick a particular division and signal program within that division, your chances are higher than if you pick some divisions and then you're signaling programs outside of that division. So have that at the back of your mind as well. And so number three, if you are a very competitive candidate and you're considering applying to a competitive specialty, I would say go for it. Signal them, because at the end of the day, like I explained earlier, the programs receive tons of application, and you signaling them and you meeting the minimum requirement for their program is just gonna put you, your application on the spotlight, at least to be reviewed, and likely you'll be called for an interview. So go for it. And then if you are not a very highly competitive candidate, don't waste your application, don't waste your signal on highly competitive programs if you don't meet the requirements. What do I mean by that? Let's say a program say my cutoff is 225 USMLA, and you have a cutoff of you have a 220 score, so you don't meet the cutoff, their cutoff. They're not going to look at your resume regardless whether you signal them or not. And so if you signal those kind of programs, it's a waste of your signal. So look for programs that you meet, their application requirements, and then you signal them, and that will increase your chances as opposed to signaling programs that are not even going to look at your application at all. The fourth, or the fifth strategy will be to research programs. Research. You have to research programs to know whether they meet your they meet your criteria. That's whether you meet their criteria. Sorry. And if you don't research, you won't know, and you waste specialties. I'll give you an example. The very first time I applied for residency, I've applied to over 300 programs, and I had 0 interview throughout that cycle. And then the subsequent years, I had more interviews. And the last time I applied for residency, I only applied to 97 programs, and I had a ton of interviews. And how did I do that? I researched programs that met my specific requirement, my year of graduation, 8 years post graduation, my score cutoff, and then I networked, spoke to all of these programs. And so at the end of the day, and when I was applying, I knew exactly the programs I was going to apply to, and that worked for me. And so research, it's a lot of work, but put in the work, and you're going to reap the benefit. That's all I can say for now. If you have any specific questions, please put it in the comment section, and also like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you, and I look forward to the next video with you all. You all have a great week. Bye.